Thank you, Speaker. This week marks Children's Week, an opportunity to celebrate the rights of every child to learn and grow in a safe and supportive environment. It's also an opportunity to recognise the incredible work of our early childhood educators, the teachers and support staff who give every child the very best possible start to life, and I thank them for the work. Speaker, I want to acknowledge and thank all those hard-working community preschool educators also working not just in my community but in every community across New South Wales. I went to a community preschool, my sisters went to a community preschool, and that centre that we went is still running in our community to this day. Recently, I had the privilege of visiting Drummoyne Preschool, which is a community preschool that has taught thousands of local children over decades. What struck me most was the dedication of the teachers and educators, their passion for each child's development, how happy the children were to be there, and the deep sense of responsibility that all staff had to the families they serve. As local members, we see many campaigns and we listen to advocacy from all industries, but the current campaign that is running in our state to support community preschools is one of the most important issues facing us as legislators and policymakers right now. When I met with Helen Miller, the director of Drummoyne Preschool and someone who has worked at the centre for over 20 years, I listened to someone with incredible passion for the work she does and for the staff in her team. She knows Drummoyne Preschool like the back of her hand, and she knows all the families and children in that centre. Helen spent time with me during that visit explaining the issues, pains and frustrations currently being experienced by those working in community preschools right now. I want to thank Helen for her time explaining those issues to me, and that is why I take this opportunity today to advocate for community preschools, including the ones in my electorate. Speaker, community preschools are not for profit. They're overseen by local parent committees driven to work for the community, not to make a profit for shareholders. Not-for-profit community preschools are a fundamentally different business model to for-profit long-day centres. What should always be a priority in education is choice. Choice for parents to choose the best type of early education and care for their child and for their family. One of the key concerns expressed during my discussions with community preschool teachers was the long-term sustainability of community preschools. Last month, the Minns Labor government announced the Expanding Quality Access program, encouraging community preschools to open longer hours. On paper, this sounds great, but this was an announcement that was dropped onto the sector with very little consultation. From listening to preschool teachers and staff, I know they are concerned and they feel as though no one is listening to them. Whilst the idea is good in theory, the practicality of this announcement poses challenges for every community preschool in New South Wales, and I really hope these concerns will be listened to before any move is made to shift this from an opt-in scenario to a compulsory requirement. Extending community preschool hours sounds great in theory, as I said before. However, increasing hours comes with additional costs that are currently not being met by the government, and any changes to the system could disproportionately impact community preschools. We must ensure that more is done to support our early childhood educators, particularly in community preschools. Let's look at the facts in the announcement. The Acting Minister for Education's own media release announced $100 million to support community preschools expanding their hours. Again, sounds great on paper, but the numbers don't add up. In the same media release announcing that program, the government suggests that this funding will be shared between the 3,654 community preschools in New South Wales. That's a total of $27,367 for each centre. That barely covers the cost of hiring one additional part-time educator for a few months, let alone the sustained staffing needed to extend hours in the long term. Section 21 of the Children's Services Award outlines that full-time employees in the childcare sector can work a maximum of 38 hours a week and maximum of 8 hours a day. This means that any community preschool extending beyond the typical 9 to 3 or 9 to 3:30 would be forced to hire additional part-time staff to cover these hours, a cost they simply cannot afford right now. By applying a one-size-fits-all approach to extending operating hours, the government is only adding to the staffing strain felt within our community preschools. When the sector is already experiencing teacher shortages and struggling to fill existing vacancies, where will these additional preschool teachers actually come from? I want to advocate and relay the concerns of those working in community preschools in my community, and I say to them, I will work wholeheartedly and productively with the government to air their concerns. Thank you.